Hello everyone, welcome to the channel and welcome to this new Let's Play series on the Vintage Oaks by Farm Sim Brisco. I am delighted to be finally getting started on this one after a host of teething problems setting up my new mic with the Wavelength software and trying to be adding a few filters. So hopefully that's all fixed and the video sounds okay for you. Regular viewers to the channel will know I usually do time-lapse content using montages and cinematics. So I'm going to try some commentary on this one. Test the waters, see how it goes. In this series, we'll be mainly concentrating on animals, breeding animals, using the enhanced animal mod. It's not something I've used too much in FS22, so with FS25 on the horizon, just want to try out a couple of things before we move over. This map will probably draw the curtain down on FS22. So, couldn't ask for a better map to play on to do that.
Here we're just dropping in a hay bin into the animal pasture. Keep the calves fed until the grazing mod kicks in next month. In this pasture we got 40 calves in total. We got 20 Angus and we got 20 Limousine. We have this grass field split up into 3 pastures for our calves. And the calves have gone through all the grass in this field using the enhanced animal mod. We'll move them over into the next pasture. Simulate some animal rotation.
Done a couple of changes to this farm, just so we could throw down a few extra animal pens. Here we have a small dairy operation. We have 6 cows. We'll also be selling the milk every evening, just to simulate that milk lorry coming, taking away the milk every day to the dairy. Over here, we've got ourselves a few sows. We have 6 Berkshires in here. It's not something I've done before in FS22, as usually it's really not worth doing. All the work involved, keep them fed. You will have just selling your grains, so hopefully using that enhanced animal mod, it'll make it a bit more worthwhile.
In here we have our chicken barn that has a capacity of 2,500. At the moment we're starting off small, currently has 25 chickens and a rooster, but I guess as time goes on that won't be long filling up. Typically I'd play on 3-day months times 5 as I find it a nice balance, but with FS25 now less than 15 weeks away, we're going to do 2-day months, so we can try and make as much progress as possible for FS25 release.
We've tried our best to be using equipment from the 80s, early 90s. About 70 or 80% of our equipment will be classified as vintage. Not everything. Actually I forgot to show you, one that I struggled to get was a mixer wagon, so we're using something new for that, but not going to get too stressed out about it. There was an older piece of equipment that I found on Montage, but just really wasn't fitting in with the map, so I think we're just using an Abbey mixer, a small one. So when we go back to the farm, we'll do a traditional look around at our equipment, so we'll see you back there. Right, we'll make our way over to the first of our equipment sheds, see what we got in here. First up is the iconic Ford 8210. I think this one is probably 115 horsepower. Beside her we have the Massey 698. That's probably 92 horsepower. What else we got in here? Got a bale trailer for our silage, a couple of harrows with rollers, and a few headers for the chopper for making silage. Over in the shed across the way we got a truck for hauling our animals around, and we also have a grain lorry. And also take the back panels off that, can back up as a lorry for hauling bales around. Let's jump in here, quickest way to get around, have a look at the rest of our setup. Down here we have a corn header, we have a John Deere planter, we have a New Holland chopper. This here is probably a controversial piece of equipment, a New Holland haybine. Wouldn't be too common across the UK. But New Holland manufactured these in Aylesbury between the 60s and 80s. So that's where that came from. And that's the story with that. Over here we got a Lely Welger baler, some slurry and manure equipment, and our grass equipment. Over here we got the beautiful Massey 165. The smallest of our tractors, probably putting out about 68 horsepower, so that can do for doing some hay work and be our scraper tractor on the farm. Right, let's jump in the old Hilux and we take a look at our final pieces of equipment. Here, hiding in the grass, we've an old set of rollers. And in this shed you'll find our grain silo. Here we have a Ford 7810, and I think this one got that TW25 conversion. So this probably has 152 horsepower, I think. Also, we have an old lime spreader, a couple of bags of lime.
One more shed to show you with our harvesting equipment, which we'll be using in this episode to harvest a field of wheat. We'll be using that to feed our chickens and our pigs. I forgot to say this map is available to download on Farm Sim Brisco's itch page. I guarantee if you download it you won't be disappointed, as it's an absolute cracker. For me, one of the best in FS22. There you'll also find the latest version of the Autodrive course, which is absolutely fantastic to have on a 4X map. I think it's by Finnish Farmer and Autodrive guys, so a big shout out to them. Right, so using Autodrive, we'll send a worker over to field 117, where we'll get him set up to unload the combine and then unload our wheat into the grain silo when the trailer's full. We'll jump into the shed, start getting our harvester warmed up and ready for harvesting. Our harvester of choice is a New Holland TX66, manufactured in the mid-90s. We also have two Massey Ferguson seeders, I think they might be direct drills, a couple of bags of seed and a couple of bags of 20-10-10 solid fert. Right, let's get our harvester started and warmed up.
Before we head down to the field, we'll quickly look at the PDA and show you where we are. As I said, it's a 4X map, 19 farms, all clearly identified around the map. Our farm is up in the northeast corner, farm 15. It's called Suttons Farm in the village of Freethorpe. The map is a mixture of some big fields, small fields, so that's why we chose up here, probably on the smaller size fields and keeping with our equipment. So in total we'll be farming about 30 acres.
I'll start making my way over to our wheat field and we can have a look at our crops along the way.
Just here to the left we have a crop of corn. Beside that over there we have some beans, so they'll be all for our pigs, keeping them fed. Then our last field in here is a field of silage corn, which we'll be using for maize for feeding our cows.
As we make our way over to our wheat field, which we will be harvesting, we're not going to be expecting very high yields considering our nitrogen levels and pH levels of our soil. I'll get everything set up here, stick the harvest into a montage and catch up with you when it's all done.
See you after. Year 1 wheat harvest completed. Just shy of 50,000 litres, which is a great return considering the lack of nitrogen and lime in our soil. Just having a quick look at the animal food overview for pigs. Our base food is going to come from corn, that's going to make up 50%. Our grains, 25%, is going to come from our wheat, which we just harvested. And 20% is going to come from our soybeans, which will be ready to harvest when we move into September. We won't know our full requirements for the year until our sows have given birth to the piglets, but I imagine that should be plenty to get us through until next year. I'll get parked up here before we move on to the final job of the episode.
So we've jumped into our load all, picking up a big bag of 20-10-10 solid fertilizer. Going to load up our spreader attached to the Ford 8210, which has a nice big weight on the front of it, ensuring we'll have steering when we get the spreader filled up. Our grass is going to be ready for harvest when we move into September. So the plan here is to get some nitrogen into the field, hoping we'll have a nice thick crop when we get around to mowing it and making hay. It's only a 2-acre field, so with the one bag we should have plenty to complete the job. By improving our nitrogen levels, we're hoping we'll get away with a single cut this year. As with 2-day months, I'm not sure if we'll get enough time to get a second cut in when we get moved into November. But between our maize silage and the hay we get off the field, we should have enough to get us through the winter. Also hoping with our pasture rotation for our calves that we'll have enough grass to keep them fed. But as we move into winter and the grass stops growing, we'll probably have to keep them topped up with some hay as well. We'll start off here on the headlands before we move on to the up and down rows. Good working width on the little spreader, it's about 24 metres, so it shouldn't take long at all. Might be handy for completing some fertilising contracts when they appear. Keep our bank balance topped up, sitting just around £20,000 at the moment. Now, for all that being said, I'm going to call it here for the episode. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you enjoyed our first episode here on the Vintage Oaks. Hope to see you in the next one. Slán go fóill.